Welcome back to the Dark Truth Diaries, where we peel back the layers of lies, betrayal, and the kind of revenge that only real life can create. Tonight's case is a psychological chess match, a story of a woman who was pushed into a corner by the person she trusted most, and how she fought her way out not with violence, but with brilliance. This is the story of a wife who refused to be destroyed. A woman who turned a perfect trap into a perfect comeback. This is the man who framed his wife until she outsmarted him. Let's step into the dark. My name is Daniel, and I'll never forget the night I first heard Claire's story. She wasn't a client, or a friend, or some stranger on the internet. She was someone I met years ago at a small quiet cafe in Atlanta, the kind of place people go when life has squeezed them a little too hard and they just need somewhere to breathe. Claire sat across from me at the counter, holding a cup of peppermint tea like it was keeping her alive. I didn't know then that this woman, soft-spoken, tired-eyed, had survived one of the most calculated betrayals I'd ever heard. She didn't start with hello. She started with, "My husband tried to ruin my life." And from there, her story unfolded like a psychological thriller. Claire and her husband, Mark, had been together for 8 years. You know the kind of couple people admire? Successful. Beautiful home. 2 cars, no kids yet. Always smiling in pictures. But like many of these picture-perfect marriages, the truth lived behind closed doors. Mark was charming in public, dangerous in private. Not physically abusive, but manipulative, controlling, and obsessed with appearances. Everything had to look perfect. And if Claire made a mistake, or worse, if she outshined him, he'd punish her with silence, guilt trips, or humiliation. She learned to stay quiet. To shrink herself. To not embarrass him, as he always said. But what she didn't know was that Mark had been preparing something bigger than emotional control. He had been planning a way out. A way to leave her without losing anything. Like every betrayal story, it starts with something small. A suspicious credit card charge. A late-night text with a name fade and electric. A perfume smell that wasn't hers. Claire wasn't the paranoid type. But she wasn't blind either. One night, while Mark was asleep, she checked his phone. And there it was. Months of messages between him and a woman named Vanessa, a co-worker from his office. But the cheating wasn't the part that broke her. It was the tone. Mark wasn't acting like a guilty man sneaking around. He was acting like a man making plans. Plans to marry Vanessa. Plans to move money around. Plans to start clean. Plans that didn't include Claire. She felt sick. But she kept calm. She didn't confront him. Not yet. Because the messages revealed something far more dangerous. She won't fight me. She's too soft. Once everything goes through, she'll sign whatever I give her. What was everything? The next message answered it. When Claire gets arrested, it'll all fall into place. Arrested. Arrested. That night, Claire learned 2 things. 1, her husband never loved her. 2, he was framing her for something. And she had no idea what. Within a week, little things started happening. Packages she didn't order began showing up at the house, expensive electronics, jewelry, gadgets. At first she thought it was a mistake. But then bank notifications appeared. Withdrawals she didn't make. Payments she never approved. Mark played innocent. Are you buying things behind my back? Are you stealing? He said it in that calm, manipulative tone she knew too well. Claire realized what he was doing. He was creating a digital trail. A pattern. A story. One where she looked irresponsible, erratic, possibly even mentally unstable. But that wasn't the worst part. One afternoon, police officers came to the house asking about a fraud complaint filed by a business owner claiming Claire used his store credit card. She hadn't. Of course she hadn't. But the evidence, forged signatures, IP address matches, all pointed to her. Someone was setting her up. And that someone slept beside her every night. Claire knew confronting Mark would do nothing. He would deflect, twist, gaslight, maybe even accelerate the plan. So she played dumb. She pretended not to know anything. And behind his back? She became a detective. She copied his phone backup to a drive he didn't know about. She installed a security camera in her home office, hidden inside a bookshelf figurine, to catch anyone accessing her laptop. And she took screenshots. Hundreds of them. Because Claire wasn't soft. She wasn't naive. She was patient. And patience is lethal. 2 weeks before their wedding anniversary, Mark slipped. He thought Claire was asleep. He didn't know the office camera was recording. He sat at her laptop, typing furiously, transferring money from his business account into her personal account. Then he sent threatening emails from her address to his own company. Then he made a fake online purchase using her card. Every few minutes, he whispered to himself. Perfect. Perfect. Just a few more days. Claire watched the footage the next morning with shaking hands. It was the proof he never thought she would get. But she didn't act yet. Because she knew something. If she went to the police with just this, he could still spin it. She needed something that left no doubt. Something unmistakable. Claire called a lawyer, but not a divorce lawyer. She called a criminal defense attorney. Together, they created a plan that required Claire to do something almost unimaginable. Act normal. Pretend she was clueless. Pretend she was scared and confused. Meanwhile, the attorney began documenting everything: dates, receipts, screenshots, video files. They contacted a digital forensics expert who analyzed her devices. The results were clear. Her accounts had been accessed remotely. Her passwords changed from an external device. Her emails sent from a cloned address. Mark wasn't just framing her. He was committing cybercrime. And he was sloppy. One evening, Mark came home with flowers, acting overly sweet. That's when Claire knew the arrest was coming soon. She let him hug her. Let him kiss her cheek. She played along. The very next day, the police arrived, right on schedule, with a warrant. Mark stood behind them, pretending to be concerned. Claire, what did you do? She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Because 2 more people walked into the room. Her attorney. And the digital forensics investigator. Both holding thick files. Within minutes, everything turned. They showed the officers the timestamped security footage. The remote access logs. The forged documents. Then the attorney gave the final blow. Officer, the only person impersonating anyone in this house is Mark. The officers turned slowly toward him. His face went pale. And Claire, for the first time in years, felt her lungs fill with real air. Mark was arrested on the spot. Fraud. Identity theft. Cybercrime. Attempted coercion. False reporting. The man who tried to frame his wife had framed himself. It took months for the case to close. Vanessa, his mistress? She disappeared once she learned she had been part of a crime. Mark's business collapsed. His reputation crumbled. His family disowned him after seeing the evidence. As for Claire? She moved out. Filed for divorce. Rebuilt her life, not quickly, but steadily. She told me she still wakes up some nights thinking she hears him typing. But now, she knows something powerful. She didn't lose. She didn't break. She didn't end up in handcuffs. If you stayed with me until the end of this story, thank you. If you want more true stories of betrayal, hidden motives, and revenge that flips the script, make sure to subscribe to the Dark Truth Diaries. And remember, trust is dangerous. But knowing the truth, that's power. I'll see you in the next story.